So a core activity of FEL's Active Travel Hubs is to provide engagement with schools to help staff, students, and parents to be more active as part of their daily routine. Schools and activities connected to them are a major factor to instilling long-term behavioral change in local communities. Not only does attending school involve a certain travel pattern twice or potentially more times a day, but it's a key life stage where students are beginning to form independent travel behaviors. The webinar will outline how FEL Sterling Hub deals with approaching, communicating, and organizing activities and outreach within schools. It will delve into the experience FEL staff members have obtained during their partnering with schools and look into various do's and don'ts. There will be a separate webinar from FEL's Lornshill Active Travel Hub project officer, who is Jodie. And the reason for that is that she is embedded in the school itself. And we will look at different advantages and disadvantages of this particular model. One thing to mention is that the data we have we will provide and I will guide you through has been collected prior to the pandemic, and it's very likely to change in the future. So having said that, how do we define school outreach and why should it be part of any active travel hub from our experience? It is important to mention that while we have delivered at some primary school sports days, etc., the vast majority of our work with schools has been with secondary schools. That doesn't discount the value in working with primary schools at all, and the ability to the pester power by younger kids on getting their families out cycling and walking. It simply provides more context to where FEL's experience comes from. And just something important to keep in mind. Regardless of how well your active travel hub is situated, how adequately it is equipped, and how much space it has, it is hard to schools to organize big groups or find the time to visit. And even if they do, it will probably not happen on a regular basis. To help overcome these barriers to our service, Sterling's Active Travel Hub adopted its pop-up hub service to be applicable to schools. These small events can be held in various educational institutions and can be beneficial for several reasons. Obviously, it can reach new audiences. They can also promote and provide information on the hub's services. It is suitable for organizing doctor bike sessions or similar activities. And also students, as I already mentioned, are a high reward and captive audience, as they can instill as the activity itself can instill active travel habits early on. These pop-up hubs can also build up trust and working towards more cooperation in the future with the school that you're targeting, making them even more beneficial. The project will involve people at all stages of the behavioral change wheel, but it's particularly helpful to individuals who are in the pre-contemplation or to preparation stages. Pop-up hubs give individuals the chance to gather information and move into the action stage. So actually go for more cycling and more walking activity. So why would you organize a pop-up hub at your local school? Well, if the majority of students are being driven to school despite living in close proximity meaning 2 to 3 miles, it's a very good idea to do something like this. On a national level in 2019, almost 25% of all students were driven to school. Sterling sits at a bit lower at 20%, but it's still quite high. The school outreach program was also developed to promote and deliver our services in different educational facilities, and that can work exactly the same way for you as well. The project supports outcomes and objectives of the active travel framework for Scotland. It also increases the number of people choosing walking, cycling, and wheeling. Also, obviously, it improves health and safer travel and cuts carbon emissions. It is important to also keep in mind that pop-up hubs are just one option. There are numerous different outreach activities that you can organize depending on what works best in your organization's relationship with the school. FEL has delivered or assisted with doctor bikes, bike club, cycle skills activities, and school bike share pilot projects. Further information on those can be accessed through some of our other webinars or upcoming training documents that will be made available to the Hub network later this year. So once you have a school targeted, there are several stages and several important things that you need to take, which is you need to scout the location, you need to organize the activities you want to do, promote them, and evaluate in the end. I will start by addressing the staffing and time aspect. Our school interventions and their content are developed and run by one FEL staff member. Sometimes a trained recycle bike mechanic is present as well in order to run a doctor bike session. As for time, pop-ups usually take place during lunchtime, during health and well-being events. Spring, winter fairs also work as well as parent evenings. The organization aspect, partnership is one of the most significant factors. An easy first step can be to find out who is responsible for the promotion of health and well-being in your local authority. Sterling, for example, has an overall principal teacher who coordinates all schools in the local authority. These people can provide much needed assistance when coordinating and supporting your aims in dealing with several schools and also busy head teachers. Another crucial aspect is to get to know the head teacher themselves, if possible. They can provide insight into important questions during the stage, such as what does their school's handbook say on your activities? What is the school motto? Where is the catchment area of the school itself? What is the exam diet? Do they have a travel plan already, or are they in the process of making one? Have they had any awards in certain areas, or are they hoping to get some that you can also help with? For example, the green flag, the eco communities. Those might look small at first, but make no mistake, they are an important part that distinguishes the school from others, adds to their image, and you will find out that teachers, students are often very proud of these small details. Oops, I think we jumped ahead. Right, so as I was saying, it is very important to keep in mind. As for the location, once you have a step inside, it's useful to explore and familiarize yourself with how the school is managed. Meeting the head teacher in person, if possible, furthers that goal significantly, especially if they have the time to provide support. Anyone from the senior school management works as well if the head teacher is really busy, as is often the case. It is important to start by thinking of what you can offer that will help meet their needs. Schools are very busy places, and you must be able to offer something useful. Would it be training, assistance in applying for funding, or any kind of objective that they are after? Can you help with the physical education or health and well-being lessons, or with the cycle-friendly status? Do they have a cycle club? Do they want a cycle club? Those are all important questions that you should be asking yourself. FEL has introduced monthly pop-ups at several secondary schools so that the students get used to us being there. You may find that the school has a session already for outside agencies to promote health and well-being. Ideally, avoid one of those events. The series allows for individuals to become accustomed to them and gain confidence to engage with you. So regularity is key. A smoothie bike can attract a lot of attention, but is also demanding in terms of staff time. So keep that in mind. It is also important to keep in mind that smoothie bikes will more than likely undergo a change in terms of the way they are used as a result of the current pandemic. Another key aspect is the school timetable. What are the school hours? Do they have recreational afternoons, health and being lessons? Most schools have different daily timetables, have a present Having a presence at school, if possible, on a regular basis that fits in with their timetable is key. Another avenue worth exploring is the student leadership team. Find what they, when they meet, what their responsibilities are, get to know them if you can. Can you enlist their help to help promote your aims? And who is cycling at the moment are questions that they might know the answer to. Is there any interest in any type of cycling in particular, maybe BMX, mountain biking, adapting the activities you intend to do so that they are relevant for the student body and meet their aims and desires is of prime importance. For example, essential cycling skills and transferable life skills for when they leave home and go into somewhere new for work or education. Something to bear in mind is that the partnership you establish with the student leadership will change when students move on at the end of the academic year. So invest in promotion with the younger year groups because they are often less self-conscious, more open to changing and trying something new, and you will have more time with them. We work closely with Recycle Bike to deliver a range of our activities, including Dr. Bike, as well as utilize their mechanics. Mention they run the bikeability training in the Sterling area primary schools. So always mention that your partners that you work with and what they contribute in your local area. So a key aspect to all of this is to promote what you're doing so people know about it. The promotion of pop-up hubs will differ depending on the pop-up hub locations. Information is spread within the school via assemblies or announcements. Information on pop-ups is also spread by word of mouth by people who have been at the previous pop-up or seen a promotional material. Most schools will also have their own dedicated social media channels, which can be helpful in popularizing events. Parent council pages can also be used for such promotion. Physical marketing materials such as posters around the schools are useful as well. But keep in mind, because first of all, they incur costs, and second of all, due to the current pandemic, distributing hand-to-hand materials might be something that will be phased out. When delivering promotion, it's helpful to attend the school on a regular basis. Share posters and promotional materials within the school in common areas, the staff room, and the 6th-year common rooms, as well as on social media. It is also useful if you can take a part in annual school calendar events such as sports days, summer or winter school parties. Moving on to training delivery. First of all, in order to organize an effective training program, communicating very closely with the school is essential. Get to know and follow their own, as well as your own organization's child protection regulations. During any events, carry a medical kit and a puncture repair kit when necessary, along with any additional according to the event. Secondly, find out when is good for time for the school. Always follow Cycling Scotland's right leader and cycle trainer good practice. You will need a current PVG as well, so keep that in mind. Training in child protection is also advisable. Try to predict the students' needs and try to prepare accordingly for them. Are they going to be cold? So maybe carry a few pairs of gloves with you. They might be bored or self-conscious. Can the whole of their year group watch them from the school buildings? That might be something that prevents benefits from your activity. Costs, those can vary significantly depending on what you incorporate into your project. Will there be prizes, project officer team, equipment? Another key point that might be useful to remember is that from our experience, preparation for events usually takes the larger chunk of the overall time, and delivery takes a significantly smaller one. Something important is to always do is to monitor and evaluate the data collection so you can learn from what you've already done. During each school event, we note down the number of visitors, type of engagement. These numbers give an indication of the level of interest in walking and cycling in the school. Regular bike counts around the school grounds can also provide a visible and easy to track data source. Lastly, Sustrans hands-up survey can be a great source of information as well. And just to finish off the webinar, I've compiled a few quick key points that you should, if you don't take much else, take those away from the webinar. It is important to work closely with local partners to ensure you're enhancing local delivery and that you're not in competition with others. Promotion is key throughout. Ensure there is a time in your project plan dedicated to creating and distributing promotional material. Include a small promotions budget for that if possible. Event consistency is important. A regular event in the same time and location allows individuals to recognize you and remember where to meet you. Project officers should be experienced working with young people so they can develop good relationship with the pupils to build and project on. Gauge feelings towards active travel before starting the project so you know where to focus your efforts. Is cycling seen as socially acceptable? In our experience, cycling is not seen as cool among the majority of secondary school pupils, so much of our efforts has been focused on using BMX and mountain biking as they are seen as more desirable types of cycling. Having a dedicated member of staff to push the cycling, to push the active travel agenda and highlight the benefits to health and well-being is key to success in school projects. Work closely with school senior staff to ensure integrated delivery and acceptance in the school's culture and traditions. Use existing measures such as learning center groups, environmental groups, and targeted pupils. Target areas that the school is already working on, for example, mental and physical health and well-being, enhancing the transitions between primary and secondary schools, engaging pupils who are hard to engage in schools. A bit of a mouthful, but I hope everything said here is going to be useful for you. And obviously, if you have any questions, go for it now, or you can just drop me an email, because my email is there.
Thank you, Georgie. Actually, I think I've got a few questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it. Maybe do yours, or me if I know the answer.
Okay. So you mentioned that like have a dedicated staff member as a partner. Maybe I'd like your opinion on that. Who have you been working with specifically? Like it was mentioned, like the head teacher, but is there like any other type of staff members that could be useful to help you promote active travel?
Yeah, well, what we've done in Stirling really is really forming partnerships, and we're really lucky that there is a principal teacher in your local authority area. In Stirling, that's the way it's structured, that they have a principal teacher for health and well-being. Mm-hmm. So any initiatives I roll out, I quite often contact head teachers. I don't always get feedback or responses, but the principal teacher for health and well-being can push them very gently because she's at the same level as them, and that always helps them with uptake. Or if I'm having problems and I'm having no engagement with one head teacher in particular, then she'll go off and very quietly give them a nudge in the right direction, or see why they're not engaging. Maybe, maybe it's not relevant at the moment, or they're overwhelmed, or, there's some reason for them not engaging. But she's been ideal in overseeing our kind of contact and liaising with the head teachers, just because she's at a senior management level as well, I think. I think most local authorities probably will have that now. With health and well-being, it's really central to the curriculum for excellence, so they probably will have a coordinator for health and well-being.
Okay.
And she's been great.
And just thank you. And just another question also. So are you still planning to work the same way because of COVID, like with the pop-up events and the face-to-face engagement? Like, how have you been working for the last few months, and what's your idea of the future?
Yeah, I mean, that's very difficult. It's a question for us all, I suppose, at the moment, is really how our work's taking shape at the moment is we're looking at schools assessments. So there's no on-school. Stirling Council authority area are not having visitors at the moment, so their health and safety strategy is not to have visitors in schools. So I believe some of the local authorities are, that Stirling are not, or anyone visiting. So at the moment, what I'm particularly focusing on is looking at schools assessments and cycle-friendly assessment for Cycling Scotland. So we're just looking at renewals, and I'm reaching out to schools, preparing things like safer routes maps, virtual stuff that I can offer, but there's definitely been no face-to-face contact, unfortunately, since the pandemic started. We've videoed routes for the transition year. So for example, there's 4 high schools in the Stirling area, and we've videoed for 2 of the routes. We've completed safer routes to 2 of the high schools from all of their feeder primary schools. And that's obviously, we can offer that virtually to them. Come the transition class next year, we'll be able to offer that to them, but no face-to-face, unfortunately, at the moment. And I don't think in the foreseeable future that's going to change.
Yeah.
No surprise there.
Yeah. And maybe one last thing regarding World Training sessions. I believe like any bikeability or essential cycling skills session, it's kind of the same. Is that like everything on hold for now, or what's the situation really?
Certainly in Stirling Council area, I know that there obviously our hubs are over 2 areas. So our Clackmannan falls under our Falkirk hub. So we've got, obviously in that local authority area, they are delivering bikeability, but unfortunately Stirling Council aren't. So there's no training taking place at present.
Okay.
We'll probably have a look at our Dr. Bike, because we have been offering Dr. Bike at Forth Valley Royal Hospital. So it has been risk assessed to deliver there, but I think the schools are reluctant. Really reluctant. I just think there's so much chaos with exam diet and stuff at the moment that, it's just a bit too much to ask to try and force something else on them.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.